I remember the people around me telling me I couldn't do it.
Yeah, grab him by the balls and just squeeze.
Financial literacy. Don't get
Oh my
too excited.
God. I am going to cry. I think I was always afraid to embrace my own culture because I was surrounded by people who weren't like me. And so that's just... I did get put in the international students class.
Racist.
And you can tell 100% when you go to those towns or cities, you can tell that these people have never left that town.
I'm Christian, I'm super white, and I didn't really know much else until I met you, and you introduced me to a whole new world of things. Because I've never known what I was passionate about in my whole life. And then I started to embrace my creative side and making things and capturing special moments, and I realized that's what I'm passionate about. I love it.
I'm strapped.
Maybe don't say that.
I still remember when Hallie would deny opportunities. She's like, oh, I think that'll take up too much of my time. Or, I'm not going to do well at it. I'm like, you haven't even freaking done it. Just go do it.
Today, I want to talk about some of the biggest lessons that my husband has taught me. Things that I never expected to learn from him or from our relationship, but they've genuinely shaped me into who I am today. Let's get into a Half Past Crew.
Welcome to
Half Past Job.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of Half Past Cha, where we drink cha and then spill it. We're your hosts. My name is Suketu.
My name is Hallie.
And if you can't already tell, we're a married interracial couple. And that's what we talk about. We talk about interracial relationships. We talk about relationships in general. And then we get questions from you because you guys go to www.halfpastcha.com where you submit your own questions and stories. We release new podcast episodes every Monday at 7 a.m. So if you haven't already, subscribe to YouTube, like this video. If you're not on YouTube, you go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And that is where you will give us 5 stars and follow the podcast. So then when we post at 7 a.m. on Mondays, you will be there. Thank you so much for spending your Monday here with us. So settle in, get cozy, and grab your cha.
Oh, a little toasty. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Strap in. We're getting crazy.
I'm strapped.
Maybe don't say that. I don't know.
I'm strapped.
Okay.
Ready to go.
All right. Thanks, honey. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Thank you for tuning in to Half Past Cha. Today, we are talking about one of the things that I've been pondering lately. We got asked this on our Instagram live. And the question was, what are some things, Hallie, that you have learned from Suketu in your marriage, in general, relationship, whatever? And this got me pondering, okay? Because at the time, it kind of, it didn't throw me off guard, but I could only think of like stupid things to say, like, oh, you taught me about cars. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of a very surface level answer.
Yeah.
And then I thought today more about it. I was like, you know what? I could go a lot more in depth about this. And I think this could be a really good episode because, one, I can give my takes and what I've learned from you, but then I want to make this into another episode where you talk about what you've learned from me.
And 3, it shows how much Hallie loves and values me. Woo! I'm so excited. I haven't read the entire outline, so I'm excited to see what you actually have learned from me.
I've learned a lot of things. So just to preface everybody, we've been together 9.5 years. We will have been together. Oh God, there's something in my eye. Perfect timing. We'll have been together 10 years come this October, which is actually crazy because we developed our frontal lobes together, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, we did. I wasn't very mature when we first met.
I mean, we were in high school. Were either one of us mature? I don't think so.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I wanted.
I still don't know what I want. So
it's like, we learned a lot with each other. We kind of grew up together almost.
We did. And it's really sweet to think about. And I'm sure there are a lot of couples out there that relate, whether you're high school sweethearts or, you know, you've been married however many years or been in a relationship for however many some odd years, whatever the situation, you have grown with your partner in some way and you've learned a lot of things from them. So that's exactly what we're going to cover today. I think I have like 6 or 7 things that I learned from you that I want to dive into a little bit. Number 1, this is probably one of the biggest things that Mr. Patel has taught me is don't think, damn it, I messed that up really on the first one. Don't take things so seriously.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have been known for this.
Yes, you have. That's why I had to make it first.
Don't like taking things too seriously. And if something is serious that comes up, it's not something that you should like die for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's been a really good lesson that you've taught me. And I think in general, I think men and women tend to handle some situations very differently. And looking back on some of the examples that I was incorporating with this life lesson, I was like, yeah, that's something that a guy doesn't care about. Or like, that's something that I'm a very emotional person. That's something that I care about a lot that he definitely doesn't care about. Like, for example, you don't care about other people's opinions of you. You do you. You march to the beat of your own drum, and I admire that like crazy.
My favorite thing to do is like disagree with somebody. I freaking love it. I love seeing their facial expressions. I love the drama it causes. I think that's the Indian in me a little bit right there.
Well, this is different than I expected.
Love that so much.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Okay, well, I'm really happy for you, honey. But for example, like I remember in college, I wouldn't do so hot on a test, or I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. And you'd be like, it's okay. It's just a test. It's not that big a deal, which is funny because in high school you were kind of opposite. Yeah. But then I think you rubbed off on me and I rubbed off on you to where that's one thing that I used to care about a lot, or like people's opinions of me. Or like having a harder conversation with somebody, I'd be like really stressed out about it. And he's like, why? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're still alive. You're not like dying or anything.
I think the biggest thing for me is when you're stressed about other people. That's when
That's a good point.
Like a lot of times, like I was stressed with exams and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of times where I was like, oh yeah, I need an A, or I will get a B in the class. You know, like that was life or death for me. Like, it wasn't the whole failing the class. I just didn't want to get a B. And so like that would never really bothered me as much. It's the people. It's when you let other people affect you. Like I hate that. I love confrontation.
Sound it out.
Yes. Confrontation.
Yeah. But like that, and see, like that's one of the things with this, because I would take disagreements with somebody so seriously and be like, oh my God, well, we don't agree. It's the end of the world. Okay, guys, you're not going to agree with with any person on every single thing on this planet. So you might as well get used to confrontation and having tough conversations. And you taught me how to do that. Yeah. And I really appreciate that. I can think of one example specifically, or this applies to a few different situations, but you're really good at job interviewing and like really good at, I don't want to say it, but you're really good at bragging about yourself.
Oh, I'm so good.
And like yapping about yourself. All right. And I just every job interview I've ever had, like I remember interviewing for this current job that I have, and I was like so nervous. Like I was sweating, I was freaking out. And you're like, Hallie, it's okay. It's a job interview. If you're going to get it, you're going to get it. But if you're not, then you're not. It's not meant to be in that case. And so that's one thing that I really admire that you taught me with not taking things so seriously.
Fun fact, if you're ever in a job interview and you're nervous, just know that they already have their candidate. Like, they already know who they want to hire. So just go and do your best. They might change their mind in that case. But know that you are not the first pick. And the first pick...
That's not... Okay,
No. The first pick knows they are the first pick. Okay?
Not always.
If you get in there and you do your best, most likely you're able to change their mind. But if you get in there and you go in nervous, sorry, the other person's already got the job.
That's not always true.
Always true. I think I've interviewed I've interviewed over 70 candidates for several different jobs. And the first thing I notice is when somebody's nervous, when somebody hasn't prepped, and when I know for a fact that this person's going to get the job. Like I know, like it's guaranteed about the way they act. It's if they're confident, if they come in confident, boom, they got the job.
Yeah, but they don't always have somebody else in mind, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, they usually do. But what do I know?
Such is life.
Such is life.
Moving on to lesson number 2, which I didn't like technically place these in order of importance, but like this just happens to be a very important one to me as well. Embracing a new culture. You taught me to embrace a culture other than my own, which is a beautiful thing, because young and little and white Hallie had not really, Midwestern Hallie had not really experienced other cultures, because the place that I grew up in is not a very diverse area. And so all I really knew before you was my own culture, my own religion, my own habit, like things. Yeah. Like I knew my own stuff. And I hate admitting this, but you get in a comfortable little bubble, okay? Especially if you grow up around, if you have friends or other family members or whatever that aren't so open-minded and just like to stay in their lane and not really embrace other cultures and embrace the diversity that is what makes America so cool. You get stuck in that mindset too, and it's really hard unless you meet people that encourage you to step out of it to embrace that on your own. And I hate admitting that, but I'm Christian, I'm super white, as I say every day, and I didn't really know much else until I met you, and you introduced me to a whole new world of things, which was such an eye-opening, cool experience for me.
I think a lot of Americans go through this. I hope they do. I hope a lot of Americans like meet a friend from the Middle East or Europe or India or any other country besides America, and they realize like, oh my gosh, there's so much more out there.
Well, yeah.
And a lot of them, unfortunately, never go through that. Like I know for a fact there's people in Kentucky and Tennessee
In the Dakotas, maybe?
because I've traveled there, okay? And when I go there, they look at me like they've never seen me before, okay? It's just it's a weird feeling. And it's because they look at me like that. It's because they've never experienced other
crazy.
cultures. And I'm not saying like everybody in Tennessee. I went into very rural areas of Tennessee and
Yeah.
like South Dakota and all these different places that I've been, and I definitely get looks, and I 100% I'm like they just don't see Indian people or other cultures at all ever. And you can tell 100% when you go to those towns or cities, like you can tell that these people have never left that town.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it's like a crazy like feeling because like you yourself, like for example, me coming from India, like all I knew was everybody else around me is different. Whereas these people that I'm like in the middle of nowhere, all they know is everybody's just like me. And they know nothing else. They know nothing different.
Mm-hmm.
That's a crazy concept to me.
That's such a narrow, I can't imagine having that narrow of a perspective of not having any kind of understanding of other cultures. I mean, I did, maybe when I was younger, but at least I started to branch out and learn some stuff, like,
I think that's why college is so important.
oh my gosh,
'Cause
college
that
is huge.
Is a melting pot. College is a melting pot of different cultures. The amount of like foreign exchange students / like just international students that come in, and then become friends with just the normal population of America is it's a whole nother world. And I think that's what I loved about college. Not the classes. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Hated the classes.
The social aspect, everybody.
The social aspect was amazing.
Because we've met so many of our lifetime friends from college, right? And one thing that was so cool is that our school had a very large international population. So you were, how were you involved? Were you in like a class or something?
In a summer class. It was only like a 2-week class. And what they did was they help you get ready for college. So it's like right before.
Summer Bridge?
It's called Summer Bridge.
Okay.
It was a fantastic program where you spend 2 weeks on campus before you go to school. So you get to go to your classes, but not actually like do homework or anything. It's just like a fun 2 weeks that you spend with some people that you're going to go to school with. And I don't know why I got put in the international class, but I did get put in the international students class.
Racist.
Which I was kind of happy about because I met some of my best friends there.
That's true.
And I got to meet some of the coolest people like that were from all over. I met people from Russia. I met people from like in like really rural areas of like Amsterdam. I met people from, I think the coolest place was a ton of people from Dubai. It is insane. Like the quality of life there and just like learning about where they grew up and everything that happened there. Just loved it. So good.
Yeah, that's good. So I agree to what you're saying, though. College is such an integral part of your foundation and forming of the rest of your life and how you see the world, because one, just in general, college teaches you a lot of things. But like you were saying, you had the opportunity to meet so many more people, especially if you came from smaller town. We didn't come from like a real small town, but we came from a pretty Caucasian town.
Yeah.
To
Very much
say
so.
the least. So it was really nice meeting one of our best friends, Raj, from Dubai. Like, we wouldn't have met him if we wouldn't have gone to the college that we did. So just to kind of wrap that up, the first time that I went to like Garba, for example, or like an Indian wedding or Bai Beach or like Raksha Bandhan or like so many of these cultural gatherings, family events of yours that just opened my eyes to so much. I mean, literally, I'm like, wow. Like, I remember the first time in 2017 going to Garba and I walked in, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Did you ever think that, like, I don't know, when we first started dating, did you think I was like, not going to be into that or what? Because some people like are lame and are not.
I was scared to take you just because I didn't know if you would actually like it because I never liked it. And listen, the reason I never liked it is because nobody ever like there was never a reason for me to kind of go in and do Garba because like the guys would always go outside, play some football.
Not all the guys.
Not all the guys. No, you're right. Not all the guys.
Generalizing.
And so I was with the guys who went outside and played football while Garba was going on. So like I never knew how to do Garba. I never understood it. Like I never fully was the best at it either. And so I was like, why? Like I don't think she's gonna. If I don't like it, she's probably not gonna like it. And she ended up loving it. And then I ended up loving it. Like it took you to make me love my own cultural like
that's so
gathering, which is kind of crazy,
that's
but
so messed
it's
up.
true. It's a fact. Hallie really made me feel comfortable to embrace my own culture. That I think I was always afraid to embrace my own culture because I was surrounded by people who weren't like me, and so that's how what I'm assuming happened because I didn't want to be so different. I always tried to like fit in, and then I think that is why.
Well, that's
I did
sad.
That.
I'm sorry that you felt that way, but I embrace every part of you and I love everything that you come from and everything that you are. So don't ever feel like it's not special.
Hallie makes me feel very special.
Stop it. You make me feel special. Stop.
You know who else makes me feel special? The sponsor of this podcast. Guys, we got a sponsor and we want to thank them so much. Their name is And Collar. But before I go into why they're amazing, I have to change real quick. Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, look at me. Look at this outfit right here. Oh, it feels so good. Ooh. Guys, And Collar is like a shirt, pants, just professional clothing company. If you are interested in getting something like this that's super comfortable, and guess what?
It's sweat-proof?
Affordable and sweat-proof.
Yeah.
But the affordability part is
that's even better.
One of my favorites. Very low maintenance. You don't have to worry about ironing. I don't even know how to iron.
No, he does not, folks.
So this is fantastic for me because I usually just get up, put on my shirt, and walk out the door.
And it's so nice. I will say it fits you really well. And it's just really, I don't know, like it's really breathable and like you can sweat in it because you're a sweater under the arms, as am I. Everyone does. It happens.
And we're getting you all 15% off. If you use code HalfPastCha, you already know how to write that out. And my favorite aspect, because it's sweat proof, I'm gonna be wearing. We film a lot of weddings for work. S Patel Productions, our company. If you ever need a wedding video or anything at all,
any video, anything,
let us know. But it's to be able to have something that is professional and I can also sweat in. Fantastic, love it. We'll always wear that.
That's a big selling point for him.
So thank you again, And Collar, which is spelled ANDCOLLAR.com. And Collar. All right, moving on to lesson 3.
Financial literacy. Don't get too excited.
God. I am going to cry. I'm so happy.
This is arguably one of the biggest lessons that you've taught me is how to manage my finances, how to budget, what stocks are. Guys, I didn't really know any of this prior to meeting Mr. Patel over here.
Hello, I am Mr. Patel, and I help my wife with her finances. How did I help you, Hallie?
Are you like emotional? Why are your eyes kind of teary? Funny.
This is amazing.
Okay.
I mean, it just makes me so happy because financial literacy, especially in America, absolute crap. It's so bad, and
Yeah.
I feel so bad for people because if they have so much potential if they just knew how to use their money.
That's
But
true. Let's dive into some of the things that Mr. Patel taught me, shall we? You got me my first credit card.
yes, I did.
What was it?
Discover It for students. Great card if you are a student. Get the credit card. I'll try and find a link to help you out.
A little link for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, you told me to get my first job. You pushed me to get my first job. Did I hate that job? Yes. Did it teach me the value of money? Also, yes.
If you are in the boat of not having a job during school, or let's say you don't have to have a job because your parents have a lot of money, or you don't need to really worry about that kind of stuff, still get a job.
Excuse me.
Get a job because it is so crucial to your understanding of the value of a dollar. Trust me, you're going to be working some hours, and when you see that tax cut coming out of your paycheck, you'll see the value of a dollar.
Absolutely. Next thing you helped me understand and taught me is last year when I had a situation with my college loans, you helped me understand all of it and explained it to me and helped me get to the bottom of the issue and figure it out and deal with it.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about that one. If you're interested in what we're talking about, you can go to our finance video that we did for 2024. It's
Yes.
very informative and reveals all our secrets.
Yeah, that's true. And you've also helped me we do finance day once every month, and you help me understand, like, I know where our finances are going. I know how much we're paying for our mortgage. Like, I know those sorts of things, but you speak to me in a way that helps me understand and isn't in like a bad way. Like and to be fair, there were times in our relationship where financial conversations didn't go that well because one party was a little bit more stressed, I think. And that has changed over time. Don't mean to drag you. However, you used to be mean about it.
I
a
did.
little bit mean.
I was.
But you learned and I learned and we are more mature now and whatever. So you talk to me in a way that I can really understand what's going on and we have rational conversations about it, which I really just appreciate. You also taught me how to budget, which is nice. And we have an app that we use.
Rocket Money is fantastic. We're not sponsored by them, but
we'd like to be.
Eventually, that'd be fantastic because if I think the biggest things with that app, it helps us see how much we're spending on grocery shopping and eating out. I think those are the two things that we really heavily monitor. We've absolutely cut down all of shopping. Like, we just don't do that anymore. But
I like shopping. It's been hard. Let me just go back. Yes, it does make me sad because here's the other thing with that too, is that it doesn't make me that sad because as long as I can go in a store and just like look at things and realize that I don't need to buy them, that's good. Because there was a time in my life where I would just go drop $100 at Target. No biggie. I was in college. I didn't really care. My money, I'd make it from my jobs that I had and spend it on some candles and some mugs and some clothes and some jewelry and that sort of thing. And what kind of woman out there doesn't like doing those things, right? I don't do that as much because my perspective has changed now that I see our financial future for us, not just me. So that's a shift in mindset, definitely, and thinking, together as one mind as opposed to us being separate. And we also have the same bank account, which maybe some people out there don't. I don't know. We do. It's a great decision to do that. I think I would be screwed if our finances were separate. I don't know what I would do. I appreciate you more than you know.
It'd be difficult, but going back to like the shopping thing, America has a consumer market, so it's like everybody just wants to buy, and that leaves no money in your pockets for savings. Let's say you lose your job. Let's say you are in a situation where your car breaks down, you need to fix something.
You're in a pickle.
More than 50% of Americans can't afford that. And so it's a consumer problem. It's not an income. I know there are things out there where it's like, $15 an hour is not enough to live off of, which is fact. It's 100% true. But if that person is spending a lot more than let's say like the shopping pandemic in America is just insane when it comes to buying things. Like we just keep buying things
That we
over and
don't
over and
need.
over again, especially clothing. Clothing is the one thing that's like you should be able to buy once, like a really good item, whatever it is, and just keep it forever. And let's say you want to switch it out, donate it, and then replace it, but don't just keep all your stuff. That's just something that I've always
Well, yeah, if you're going to buy
never
something
understood.
good, then get rid of like 5 things if you want to get one nice thing. That's my philosophy.
I think it's okay to have like a small wardrobe and then you switch it out every year. Let's say that's a fantastic idea, or maybe every 6 months you want to switch it out. It's just the
But you're buying
excessive.
things.
That's fine. I think buying things is fine as long as you are taking what you have and replacing it, not just buying things to keep things. Like that to me makes no sense. Like when when I walk into a closet and it's just clothes everywhere, I'm like,
Eee.
you haven't worn that in a year, you haven't worn that in a year, and you haven't worn that in a year. Why do you have it? Like what?
Yeah, if you're not wearing them, then that's like not cool.
I don't know. I hate overbuying like consumer items. I hate that.
But everything that I learned from you has changed my perspective so much on where money actually comes from, how it's earned, and how much of it we actually have. And that has helped me really from there not to spend aimlessly and to budget and to have just a really broad financial overview knowledge of everything that we do and have. And I really respect that because I didn't really know any of that before. And, you know, I think a lot of people would kind of agree with me. A lot of people would agree with you too, that they either do have a pretty good understanding of finances or they don't. But I think it's really important that you do have a significant other that if you're one of those people that does not have a good understanding, you should probably find someone who does have a good understanding of it because they'll help you out and teach you and you can learn from that.
Yeah. It can definitely empower you a lot. And you don't want to be the person who turns 70 and still has to work.
Yikes.
That's where it starts to get a little more serious, where it's like, figure it out now so you don't have to suffer later.
Well, yeah, that's that's like the whole gist behind it, right? Is if you figure out the hacks to your finances now and how to save and how to be smart with your money, you're only going to save yourself in the future.
Yep.
Moving on to lesson number 4. This is arguably all of these are huge. That's why they're in this podcast. But embrace my creative side because I did not pick up a camera, do photography or videography until I met you. And I had no idea that I loved it until I met you.
So I gave Hallie a Canon T3i.
It was your first camera, and then it was my first camera.
Yeah, I gave it to her. It was a fantastic camera. The reason I love it is because you have to learn ISO, you have to learn aperture, you have to learn shutter speed. It's not just gonna be a camera where you just press the button and boom, the picture turns out perfect. You actually had to put work into it to actually get a good picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things where I knew if I gave it to Hallie, she would figure it out. And she ended up doing more than figuring it out. She ended up loving it and finding a passion for it, turning it into a moneymaker, which is always the way you want to try and flip your hobbies to make money. And that is the way to life.
Monetize your passion, baby.
Yes.
I did not know that I had a passion until you introduced me to media and content creation. I mean, not like content creation because that wasn't super huge when we first started dating. I mean, there was Instagram, right? But TikTok didn't exist. Reels weren't a thing. Like social media was a whole different game back when we met almost 10 years ago, which is actually crazy to think about. But our love and my love for media and photography, videography has evolved into content creation, which is now something that I am so incredibly passionate about, which is crazy because I've never known what I was passionate about in my whole life. And then I started to embrace my creative side and making things and capturing special moments. And I realized that's what I'm passionate about. I love it. I love it so much. And I wouldn't have known that had it not been for you giving me your camera, which is so crazy to think about.
It's insane. I'm so glad I did it. And I'm so glad you found a passion in it.
Well, and one thing too, as I was thinking about this specific lesson, watching you vlog for years on YouTube also kind of sparked something in me. I didn't know what it was. at the time because I was very afraid to pick up a camera. And which is crazy now because I talked and yap to a camera all the time, all the live long day. However, there was a time where I was really, really shy, really camera shy, and didn't know. I mean, and I think it's fair to say a lot of people don't know how to talk to a camera. You whip out a camera and they're like, like they don't know what they're doing. And I get that because I used to be that way. Had it not been for all the practice that I really had being in your videos that you were making, and might I say, I love your YouTube videos. I still watch them all the time. Like we heard a song, or we were looking through your old photos the other day on our hard drive, and I was like, oh my God, that's the one video. And you're like, how'd you know that? And I'm like, because I'm a super fan. Duh.
Aw, she watched all my videos
They're
more
so
than
good.
once, which was awesome.
Well, they're so good. But I think watching you do that really just helped me, 1, to embrace my creative side, 2, to put myself out there, 3, to make my own content. And even though it's scary putting your heart and soul into something and then putting it out there for other people to judge, it's still amazing knowing that you've created something that you're proud of and you put it out there. And whether it's well received or not, you're proud of that thing. It's like a child.
You have the power to make your own movie, guys.
I know!
All you need is a phone at this point in time.
For sure. So that's one of the biggest things because that helped me really kind of break out of my shell. I was very shy, and I can't go back and watch some of your old videos where I was in it because I was so painfully shy and awkward, and I didn't know what to say to the camera. It was.
You also didn't like it all the time.
Remember? I didn't. It took me some time.
I had, because I would like put the tripod down and then I'd make her walk across, and then I'd be like, okay, I got to put the tripod on the other side, and then we have to walk across again because you have to do the back shot and then the front shot and then blah blah blah. It's like a lot.
Well, yeah, and that's just the reality of making videos and content, and you grow to love it. I think at first watching you do it when I wasn't fully invested in it yet, I was like, what is happening? I don't know how he has the patience for this. You taught me to have patience, and just the encouragement that you've shown with my own YouTube channel and me really getting it started up and going, and I've got 4 videos out now. I mean, Suketu has helped me film every single one of my videos, and he's been so helpful in listening to my ideas and helping me understand, like, how should I film this? And, oh, this would be a good location to film that. Or maybe you should say this instead of that. And just helping me do so much of it, I really appreciate. So you're really always helping me embrace my creative side.
No problemo.
He's getting all shy. He's
I
like,
love it.
Stop.
I absolutely love your creative sides.
Well, and we're 2 very different creatives, I think. Like, we both have very different visions for things, but I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
When you do give me feedback, I love that.
I do give harsh honesty when it comes to feedback.
Well, sometimes you could be a little nicer.
Yeah, but you know, I'm a direct kind of guy.
Yeah, that's right. You love confrontation, right?
Love it.
Lesson number 5. He taught me the importance of seizing opportunities.
Did I?
What does this one mean to you?
For me, I've always been the guy to kind of, if something comes my way, I'm going to say yes to it.
So you don't hesitate.
Don't hesitate.
I hesitate. You tell me not to hesitate.
I get an email saying, hey, we have this opportunity. I'm like, within 30 minutes, if I get an email that looks interesting to me, I will email back and be like, I'm interested. How can I get involved? I think that is something that has definitely rubbed off on you.
Oh, yes. Now, if we get a good brand email coming through, I'm like, Suketu, we got to email him back right now.
It's it's one of those things that time does matter. And a lot of people don't achieve their dreams because they wait.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is no time like the present. And you might think, oh, you have time. And it's true. You do have time. But you have to learn how to take advantage of every opportunity presented to you within the time that you have, because it'd be so easy for us to sit on the couch all day and not respond to brand emails or not record new podcast episodes or not create content or skits to put out on social media and not benefit ourselves in any way. It'd be so easy to do that. But if we come home from work and we're like, okay, we have 4 hours before we want to go to bed. How can we best utilize this time? You have to seize the opportunities and all the time that you have and make the most of it. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that you've taught me is to take big jumps and leaps of faith and just go for it. I mean, like, what's the worst that can happen? That's kind of going back to the first point I think that I mentioned is, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Just do it.
The worst that somebody can say is no. And I'll give you an example.
Mm.
Recently on Instagram, I've been trying to reach out to people that I'm like really wanting to work with or something like that. And there was this brand that I wanted to work with, and I emailed them saying, "Hey, I would love to work with your brand. I've been using you guys since 2018. Like, big fan, and would love to be able to be involved." They came back and said, "Hey, we don't have anything right now, but we'll keep you in mind." That's all I need. All right, that is all you need. You just need that little bit to get into the door. Okay, just because somebody denies you the first time doesn't mean it's a no. Okay, and there might be those, boom, sorry, we're not interested right now. That's fine. At least you tried. I think that's the biggest thing.
No regrets.
No regrets.
You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, everybody.
Facts.
You need to go after opportunities. Go after what you want. Life is too short to sit around and let opportunities come to you. You need to be the person to seize the opportunity.
Yeah, grab him by the balls and just squeeze.
And just yank him in and just... Okay, we're doing too much. That's way too much. But, I've said this time and time again, and I really think traveling outside of America changed my perspective on this, Yeah. Because it taught me to just realize how much more there is to my day-to-day, to living in the Midwest, to working a corporate job. And, people having the expectation that you have a family young. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just not for me. Okay. I started exploring and learning a lot more about myself, learning to seize opportunities, that there's so much more out there that I want to learn more about. And yeah, I think it's just really important to seize the moment and go after what you want, which you taught me to do that. So thank you.
I think everybody needs to go visit India or
somewhere.
the
Go
Middle
somewhere
East
so different from where you live.
Go to Africa, go to Australia, go literally anywhere but your own place. And my gosh, it'll open your eyes to the world.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely.
We were flying over back home to America from India, and we were like, what the heck is outside? And so it was these mountains. It was like these like massive mountains. Like it felt like we could, like the plane was about to touch the mountains. Like it was that close. We look outside. It was like the Arabian something.
Was it the Dead Sea?
It was.
We were over the Dead Sea.
We were over the Dead Sea, and then right next to it was like these massive mountains.
Oh, it was so cool. I took so many pictures because I was like, oh my God, look out the window.
And I'm just like, oh my God, we're like so tiny and so insignificant to this entire massive world.
Oh yeah.
Like, holy crap. We need to like do something, right?
I know we're coming back home from India, but like, damn, we need to do something else.
We need to like see more of the world because
yeah. Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more. I think it's so important to travel, especially, like if you're younger and you don't have a family yet, go travel, go do everything that you want to do. Like we know this really awesome couple. We met them not even that long ago, and we met them and the wife, she's pregnant. And they had their baby now. He's adorable. But we were like, yeah, like she's my age. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, I know, like we're kind of young, but we traveled and did everything we wanted to do. And so now we want to have a family because we've seen everything we wanted to see. And I think that's amazing. I think you absolutely should go see and do everything you want to do. And then you can settle down and, have a family. And then when your kids get old enough, you can start traveling and doing cool stuff. So, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing. Okay, guys. We've made it to the very last lesson. Lesson number 6. To ask why and to be curious.
Oh my gosh. It's my motto.
And to not take things as they are, to question them. It's okay to ask why. It's okay to ask why something's done the way that it has been done. Or why do you think that? Or what does that mean? It's okay to ask questions.
Yeah. I'm a person who loves to be curious and ask questions. I have a brain page, everybody, that I always send out before an interview or that allows them to see who I am and kind of like a inside of inside the brain of Suketu, right? Mm. And so in that section, the first thing that it says is seeks discomfort and is curious. It's kind of like how I start. And it's just one of those things that if I am not trying to do something that makes me curious or do something that makes me uncomfortable, probably not going to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are two things that are very crucial to who I am. And I'm so glad that it rubbed off on you.
Well, yeah, I want to go back to this whole seek discomfort thing because that is the motto of Yes Theory.
Mm-hmm.
We love Yes Theory. And I think I didn't understand that one until I graduated college. And I started doing more things that I normally wouldn't do or that made me uncomfortable, but you feel so alive when you go out of the norm. I mean, it's crazy.
I still remember when Hallie would deny opportunities because she's like, that takes up too much of my time.
Or I don't think I can do it.
Or-
Self-doubt.
Yeah, self-doubt. Like she's like, I think that'll take up too much of my time. Or I'm not going to do well at it. I'm like, you haven't even freaking done it. Just go do it. Like,
How would you know unless you do it?
I
Gosh,
remember
I would just
I remember
smack
those
her.
moments and I was like, she needs to feel some kind of discomfort for her to actually understand this concept.
Yeah.
And I remember we did a wedding by ourselves and it was like one of the hardest things. But
Well,
it was like
Yeah.
the best experience ever. Not the actual wedding itself. The wedding itself was the worst experience ever, but
But it taught us so much.
afterwards, it just taught us so much on not only how to work together, but how to handle certain situations that aren't the easiest. It taught us that we are capable of running an entire wedding.
Absolutely.
And that really just opens up your whole perspective of being able to like take the wedding portion out of it, but just being able to be your own boss. Like that's a whole nother world that you can open up.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But I will say to the very first wedding that I photographed on my own and you were lead videographer for that, it was just us two and our very good friend Ronak. He was a second shooter for me. Thank you. Shout out. I remember the people around me telling me I couldn't do it. And so I think that's a huge part of it.
Crazy.
It is. It's a lot harder than you think it's going to be.
My gosh.
So, I mean, no wonder I had some major self-doubt. I mean, I remember still so well, clear, vivid memory of someone very close to me saying, well, I think it's a lot harder than you think it is. Okay, so now you're questioning my ability?
Yeah.
And that was really disheartening. So I think to go along with the overall theme of why I struggled to put myself in discomfort or uncomfortable situations is because the external influence around me making me feel like I shouldn't be taking big things on because that's too much, or you're not meant for that, or that'll be a lot more challenging than you think. That is so horrible.
Yeah.
And it takes doing something on your own to break that cycle and to know that you're worthy and to know that you can do whatever you put your mind to.
It takes not telling, but showing. Like it's not about
Facts.
telling everybody what you're going to do. Just do it. Just go ahead and do it. Prove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're done proving it, don't say anything about it.
Yep.
Just let them wallow in their sadness.
That's the best thing that you can do is to prove to somebody that you're right. And I can guarantee that that person, when you do prove them wrong and prove that you're right and prove that you're capable, they're going to feel really silly, really stupid.
And that's never the goal, but
it feels good.
It feels good sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, I can think of quite a few big jumps that are coming up, and you've done nothing but encourage me to do that. And you have full faith in me. And that makes me very happy. And that just reassures me because if I have your approval, that's all I need.
Well, you have it.
Yeah. Well, that was it, you guys. Isn't that crazy? My gosh, what great lessons that you taught me. Just to recap, Suketu has taught me to not take things super seriously, embrace new cultures. He's taught me financial literacy, to embrace my creative side and get into photography and videography and content creation. Taught me to seize opportunities, and you taught me to ask why and always be curious.
I love this episode, everybody. This is a fantastic episode.
I know.
I felt like I was just, I'm blushing.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Are you sweating through your sweatproof shirt?
No, I'm not. Is there any sweat there?
No, there's not. Tickle.
See, look at this. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, this is fantastic. If you want 15% off, just go to anncollar.com and then you could put in half past ja as your code.
And you can match Suketu. You guys can be twins. But before we do wrap up, I want to say a couple not so serious things that you've taught me just to level this out because we need to be a little bit more comedic. You taught me to like F1.
I love F1.
I love F1 every Sunday. We'd be watching it.
It's so good.
You also taught me cars, which is the not so deep answer that I gave on our Instagram live the other day. We drive around and I'm like, oh, that's that car. That's that car. That's a Rivian. Blah, blah, blah. Or like we guess the headlights or taillights of a car and like, oh, I know that one. Or like the logos or whatever.
My favorite game to play.
You taught me to be an equally good cheerleader because you are my number one cheerleader and you're always in my corner. So just to be unconditionally supportive of everything that you're doing and you reciprocate that back to me, and it's a beautiful thing we got going on. You taught me to be very tech savvy. Yes. Because you're an IT guy at heart.
I am. The one thing shopping, everybody, the one thing I can spend money on is tech.
Oh yeah, I bet nobody guessed that.
Oh my goodness.
Last but not least, you taught me to try new foods and to open my horizons to different foods other than American foods.
My gosh. Hallie went from eating chicken nuggets every day to like sweet potatoes and chickpeas, and there's like salads that she eats with no lettuce.
Yeah, I was going to say the only thing I don't eat is lettuce. I have a huge, I'm not even going to get into it.
She's also got the soap genes, so she can't eat
cilantro. Ugh, I hate cilantro. But I'll pretty much eat anything else besides lettuce and cilantro.
If you've made it this far, I need you to comment, I like cilantro or I don't like cilantro.
Do you have the gene?
Do you have the gene?
Do you?
That will determine the comment. All right, everybody. This is the end. Thank you guys so much for being here for episode 101.
That's crazy.
Reminder, make sure you submit your stories and questions at www.halfpastshot.com. And I know we didn't answer a question this week, but next week we will be, and it might be with a guest. So please submit your questions, www.halfpastshot.com. We're going to go through some of those scenarios with our special guest.
I can't wait. You guys are going to love this. It's going to be so good. We got 2 good episodes coming out after this, so just get excited.
Half Past Crew, we love you. We thank you for your support. And as always, we will see you next Monday at Half Past Ja.
I had one really good point I wanted to make.
What's your point?
To sum this up, I typed this out, everybody. And I'm going to read it as if it's very poetic. I almost dislike the person I used to be. No, I feel sorry for her. She didn't know how to be open-minded or confident or secure in her feelings. A big part of that came from embracing another culture, which has opened my eyes to so many things, and I love it. You've added so much color to my world, all for the better, and I can't thank you enough for exploding my once black and white world. You need a partner who's different from you to show you things that you can't always see yourself.
That was amazing.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
Cry.
Oh, baby. Yo, my nose starts to tingle when you say you're gonna cry. I'm very emotional. I'm PMSing.
I'm gonna go cry in a corner now. Okay, thank you guys.
No.